This show is part of the Head Stuff Podcast Network.
All right. How are you getting on? You good? You win? Sweet. Young fella's into Maroon 5 now. Ooh. What was it he said about that woman? Your body's outrageous or something? Shit. Something like that. Adam Levine. But you know what? I know he shouldn't have. Ah, well, look. No, I'm weighing this up. You know, he's cheating on his wife with a model. Not the sort of, she will be loved. Maybe she shouldn't be. By Hugh. Who's Hugh? We have Hugh on the line. Hugh, we understand you've broken one of your New Year's resolutions. What was that? Staring in windows. I promised we wouldn't stare in any windows, and I broke that. Thank you, Hugh. Anyway, what else is going on? Yeah, the young fella's into Galway Girl by Ed Sheeran. I like Ed Sheeran. I like his style. I actually do not like his style. I like his style of music. I do not like his fashion style. I like the way he's Irish. I like the way he's 100% fully Irish and just speaks with a weird accent for no reason. He is Irish. I claim him. And like all that, do not like Galway Girl, as we all don't. It feels a little bit, we're too entitled here in Ireland to be appropriated, but you know, it's not exactly white gloves, vaudeville show. For some reason I'm dancing around saying minstrel show. It isn't quite that. It isn't that at all. I am on a new, it's that time of year, okay, when, as Hugh, as we had earlier, you break your New Year's resolutions. I'm a bit late. I have a very, short reaction time. Like if Terry tries to give me a bit of a fright and goes, boo, might not happen till like days later. Maybe they're having a pint and just splash a Guinness in my face, Yeah, very, so I don't do things. I'm also a contrarian, as you know. I would have been of the ilk to be like, Valentine's Day. Look, I don't need some fat cat in a bloody greeting card, but paper company telling me when I'm going to be romantic to my wife. Meanwhile, she's like, can we go on a date? And I'm like, I'm busy. I'm now Don Corleone for some reason. And that's what happens. You can be Don Corleone for some reason. That's what happened. There's a little quote there from, again, my favourite video in the whole world. Owl Lad calls the wrong number. Starts rambling on about a clown college and sausages in his pockets. Look it up if you can. Very hard to find. The Google SEOs on that video were not very strong. But anyway, what was I saying? Who knows? New Year's resolutions. Yeah, I'm a contrarian. Yeah. Who says I need to give me dad a bloody card? I give me that card 300 days a year. Why does it have to be on that day? On the day of my daughter's wedding. Anyway, look, New Year's resolutions. Anyway. I wouldn't say I'm on the New Year's resolution kick, but I'm on a bit of a health kick. Look, I've been fucking watching a lot of men's health gym and fridge videos. Okay? And I've been going to the gym, to the swimming pool, once a week when the young fella does swimming lessons and I'm bored. So I'm doing that. I can't breathe. And you'd be like, no shit, not a fish. But what I mean is doing swimming. I can't breathe. If anyone has any good breaststroke, Jesus, it creeped me out now. If anyone has any good breaststroke techniques on how to breathe, I know you have to get your head out of the water. I don't know how. I don't know how to breathe in and breathe out. I've always had issues with my breathing. Do I have sleep apnea? A very cheap watch on Amazon tells me I don't. So there we go. I was going to do a whole sleep test because Terry's like, you're breathing really weird at night. And then I got this cheap as fuck watch off of Amazon to help me, to tell me how much time I'm doing when I'm doing stand-up comedy, you see. And this told me once that I don't have sleep apnea. But I've always held my breath without realizing. My ma told me this story, closely related, where I I'd always be in like a deep sleep and I would snore a lot. I have my adenoids removed. Adenoids, noids. Bit of Adam Levine for you there. Adam, sleep tonight, and you're snoring all the night. You've got adenoids. Remember that song, Animals? Anyway, I got my adenoids removed, which I believe were only just because I would snore and keep my parents. That's what we used to do back in the day. Back in the day, you'd be bloody, get them tonsils out. I don't like them. My tonsils, get them fucking out. I think get them adenoids, get them out. Let me do something about them eyes as well. I don't like you looking at me. This young lady, don't like him looking at me. I don't want the tonsils, take his eyes out as well. You always listen to me. Can I get rid of his ears now? Put like elf ears or something on them. I'm reading a book about that kind of thing at the moment, and I like it. No, listen, I had my adenoids removed, and so I would snore quite a lot. And so then when they heard kind of silence, it was like, oh, what's going on? Because I would hold my breath in my sleep a lot. And I'm a deep, deep sleeper. I'm a very deep sleeper. I've talked about this before on the pod. I even had the fucking gall of my cousin Omar to tell me that he thinks there's something wrong with me because I sleep too deep. He's like, do you ever think about going and, maybe something to do with your, what did he say? Something about your fucking lungs or something, And I'm like, why, so I can fucking not sleep like you? I don't care what's wrong with me. I don't care if they wheel me out as an example of the most unhealthy human. I do actually care about that. But for the sake of the joke, I don't care if they do that because I'm sleeping. All right? I sleep when woken. And so when I was a baby and I was in my crib, I was snoring and then I stopped snoring. And they're like, oh, what's going on here? And they went into the crib, creaked open the door, and they crept on tiptoes, I imagine, over to have a look in the crib. But baby Tony was not there, and they could not hear him. And they were freaking out. They were freaking out, you see. I'm a good Shanachie. I say things like that. And they were freaking out, you see, and running around the room like a bunch of headless, and they throw in a bit of Irish, shikeens, marhamplas. August, then they looked under the crib, and there I was. Baby Tony, egg bloody schnockte, asleep, underneath the crib. What had happened was, it was one of these cheap cribs, because you got everything second hand back then. And one of the bit of wood had gone loose or something, and I'd slid out under the bed, still asleep. When I tell you I told the kids that story and it brought the fucking house down, that would not be an exaggeration. So yeah, look, I'm watching a lot of Men's Health gym and fridge videos at the moment. And they're let me tell you, I've watched 50 of them. They're very, very boring. They are very, very boring. Incredible. I mean, if you want to see people from all walks of life with varying, different insights, different levels of genius, probably. Just, it could be Michael B. Jordan. It could be Hulk Hogan. I'm not calling him a genius. Well, he's a genius regarding his views on race, but his wrestling, I would say, would be subpar. But as terms of his views on race, the man is no. Hey, that could get clipped. Can never be too careful. No, he's a racist. Hulk Hogan, one of the only racists to ever have been documented in his sex video. I talk about this all the time. When he sued Gawker for his sex video, he says in his own sex video, "See, I am a racist," and I just, wow. Anyway, so you could see Hulk Hogan, Michael B. Jordan, Stephen Bartlett, three completely different people, all say, well, I'd love to have pasta in the fridge, but I just can't. Wow. And all I ever get from those videos is, what are those little cans of drink in their fridge? Gee, I'd love to have loads of cans of a drink in my fridge, is all I feel. When I see anyone's fridge, to be honest, and they got loads of little cans of a drink. Terry's very of the kind of like, you just get a big bottle of something and pour a glass. Look, we're not wasteful. We're not wasteful. Why am I getting emotional about this? I'm not, but my voice went, Mom. Anyway, I've been watching a lot of those gym and fridge videos. And I decided just about 20 minutes ago, I'm going to do something with my life. I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to be like Stephen Bartlett and have a lot of blueberries in a bowl. He's a fucking quack now, I'd say. Look, there's no issue being a young entrepreneur, okay? I've no qualms with that. And there's no issue with people, finding, interesting alternative, doctors and scientists, and high performers, what they think and what their opinions are. But, getting some fucking quack incel on to be like, yeah, we need to do something about women not wanting to have kids, is a little, and maybe, these things might get clarified in the actual episode, but you should, you need to weigh up, is this clip to generate more views on my overall podcast episode? Could anyone misconstrue this? Is there at all a risk that someone who hasn't done their due diligence of not only watching the episode, but then clarifying maybe some of the things that the person has said is 100% fact? That would be like we don't have the time for all that, but that's like the appropriate thing to do when you hear something and you're like, oh, it isn't just, I believe that. I believe that. It's like, oh, that's interesting. I must see more about this person because that seems a bit crazy. I'm not exactly a great critical thinker. All right. I believe the last thing that I saw. But like when you hear, this is from years of being the earpiece of other people's drama. As you know, I famously hate drama. Yet it follows me everywhere. Also, every job I go to, everyone was being a dickhead to me. It must be my luck. Everyone's being a dickhead to me. Every job I go, all my bosses are fucking shit. I guess I must just be unlucky. Is an example of what that sort of person may say. But, you hear a bit of fucking drama off a mate being like, oh, I don't know, I saw Paul there the other day and he was fucking weird. Like I think he thinks like I'm real shit. Like he kind of saying kind of in a weird way that like I'm fucking shit because, I only work in the shop and he like has a proper job, like a 9-to-5 job. And he was saying that I'm shit. And like Paul said that. Not lovely Paul. You're telling me, but I wouldn't have said, I would have been like, no fucking way. And I'm like, yeah, he did. Are you serious? Without realizing that this person has just kind of like, totally projected based on a look, their own insecurities about where they are in their life. And being like, Paul pretty much just spat at me in the eye and kicked me in the gi and said, you're a pavo. Pavo, bro. Stephen Bartlett, I know you're a huge, huge fan of this podcast. You can't just look. I could be going out and be like, I could go out and put like clips online, being like, I'm after shagging a cat, and then you go to the episode because obviously you're going to click into that, and then I'd be like, I'm after shagging a cat, is what my character would say if I ever found myself writing horrible animal erotica. And then you'd be like, oh, I've been duped. I've been clickbaited. Just because clickbaiting is an effective algorithmic, method does not mean that, like, is that really the best foot forward? Do you know what I mean? Anyway, that's having to go you. And Chris Williamson, you gobdaw. Chris Williamson, man, you fucking clown. This fucking clown's this Love Island fucking reject, man. Maybe he won. I don't know. Now acting like he's a goddamn lifestyle guru, having to go with all the lovely Colleen and you jazz who don't want to have kids, man. You need to fucking figure your shit out, man. This fucking clown. How did he? I don't know if you know Chris Williamson. He's just an English guy who happens to be on loads of podcasts. He's just an English guy, and I'm sorry to say it like that, but, he is like, he's a guy who got out of Love Island and then thought, I want all the attention Joe Rogan's getting, proceeded to book all of his fucking guests, and then, like, what is this fucking English guy on Love Island having to do with a fucking, fucking Navy SEAL turned influencer, Jocko fucking Willink, or like, some fucking crossbow user. What are you doing? It's so fucking brazen. Chris Williamson's the sort of guy, he's like, good looking guy. seems well read in books about himself, on how to make himself better, you know? Or philosophy he can use himself. How about you fucking use some of this philosophy to actually just look at a flower instead of just being like, do you know what Aristotle said about a flower? You know? Do you know what Aristotle said about, he said, do you know what Marcus Aurelius? Do you know who Marcus Aurelius is? And I'm like, is there not meant to be some sort of humility involved in this whole Stoic philosophy? I'm sorry if I've lost you here. Look, I happen to be quite adjacent to the manosphere, okay? I used to be a enjoyer of manosphere content until it became weaponized. You know, and some of the people who are falsely accused of the manosphere kind of thing, I might even dabble. But like, so I'm kind of adjacent to this. Before my online algorithm was, you know, exclusively Turkish massage videos, and you know, AI fake generated footage of, you know, the Sasquatch, which is pretty much what it exclusively is at the moment. Before it was that, you know, I would see things on the cusp of the manosphere, you know, and even the fucking people who got propelled into being like, some fucker who just left his he left his job. He refused to leave work on a day that all white staff members were going to leave to do, because the black kids in his university would leave every single day to show what their absence looked like, and it was a thing they did, and then they decided to change it and have white people leave for the day, and he refused just to be a contrarian asshole, you know, to make some fucking stand. And then that somehow got him fired from his job and propelled him into the most unbelievable career of being a kind of a liberal who white people follow, as if fucking Harvey Weinstein or whatever his name is. And now this guy goes for fucking lunch with Jimmy Carr. I'm like, what is going on here? What is this? You know, what's going on? Chris Williamson's one of these dudes. Anyway, Chris Williamson's one of these kind of dudes who, like, you know, might be dating one of your mates for a while. And you already know the first time you meet him, it's almost like you can just see it in, you know, it's like, wow, he's getting on really well with everyone. You know, he's engaged when he talks to us. He's handsome, you know? This almost seems too good to be true. And like, while you're shaking his hand, you know, you're kind of living in two kind of binary states at the same time. One is kind of like, nice to meet you, Chris. And the other is, I can't believe you did that to Kate. You know, you kind of know, do you ever get that? You know in advance that like, oh, he's going to like fuck her over. Like I can't really get too attached here. Do you know what I mean? I can already tell. Not that Kate isn't fucking, you know, a prize pig herself. I'm not having to go with you, Kate. I don't know, Kate. But you know what I mean? That's the vibe I get off him anyway. Do you know what as well, I find? I think people need to market their partners a bit better, or like their potential partners. Like, you know, because obviously you're just going to go. So like, I remember a friend of mine had this kind of friends with benefits situation with this girl, and you know, he seemed to be having a great time, and he would tell us about it, and we'd be like, you know, young fellas being all horny and like, you know, laughing and hearing the things he was saying, and then she showed up at a barbecue and they're like going out, and I'm like, oh, fucking hell, do you know what I mean? It was like meeting Eiffel 65, you know, because I only knew like 3 things about her, none of which you want me to repeat. But, you know, and it's just kind of like, you know, can you tell me, like, what movies she likes as well? Just be like, I know I told you all that dirt. Forget that now. You know, she's really into Lost in Translation. So, something. Do you know what I mean? Because it's kind of like, you know, you must unlearn what you have learned. And then meet someone on a level. And then what happened was, then she wasn't very nice to him, being a bit of a dickhead to him. And, you know, we were like, oh, you should break up with her. And then he was like, yeah, I will. And we were kind of like reinforcing, you know, like, she's not good for you, man, blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, we did. And then there was a couple of weeks we were talking shit about her and be like, Jesus, you fucking dodged a bullet there. Got back with her. She had another barbecue. And I'm like, oh, fucking hell. You know? Now he doesn't like me. But also, there's now the 6 things that I know about you. 3 of which I'm not allowed to talk about. Actually, 6 of which I'm not allowed to talk about. So just, you know, just be a bit cautious of, you know, how are you marketing this person? Because we only have one news source. You know, it's a propaganda news source. So, you know, just be careful with how you promote these people. Let us know what we're getting, you know, because that's all we're thinking about is just the things you tell us. and have critical thought. If your mate says something that someone did and you think that is unbelievable, allow it to remain unbelievable. Do not believe it, is what I'm saying. There's probably more to it. Or just have your fucking mates back and just buy into people's lies, because that's really all we're doing, isn't it? Now all we're doing. I mean, I'm watching these gym and fucking food videos, lying to myself, being like, that's me there. Well, not me now, but it's me in a little, fog, me and whatever. Blah, blah, blah. Best chest exercises. The best ones. Don't be doing those, dumbbell, rows. That'd be for your back, whatever. Dumbbell flies. Don't be doing them. In fact, use this machine you don't know if your gym has. Best, Meanwhile, I can barely breathe in the swimming pool. I go once a week. But I'm kind of watching that. Shit, yeah, that's going to be me now. And blah, blah, blah. Shit, I can't wait to be... That's actually going to be me. I must make sure my clothes still fit me when I'm that ripped. Inevitably. Blah, 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 blah. We're all just telling ourselves lies. But anyway, this is the new me. Saw the rip over a weekend. Let me tell you, my review of the rip, yeah, it's already in the title. Rips. Matt and Ben Affleck, or as Terry calls him, Ben Affleck. Because she's insane. Ben Affleck. Like a genuflect in church. A little curtsy that you do. A little curtsy to show that you're submissive. That you're a submissive little thing to God. Do a little curtsy there when you're getting out of the pew. Make sure you genuflect getting out of that pew. Show that you're a submissive little... I just am repeating myself here. Anyway, what am I talking about? Yeah, saw a movie to rip with Matt Damon and Jenna Fleck. Yeah, fucking rips. Do you know what I love, right? I coined a term. Do you want to hear it? Film dory. Because I'm an absolute dory. I have such short-term memory when I watch movies. I don't know what the fuck's going on. But I'm having a great time. Like Dory the fish. And so watching something, not complicated twists and turns in a movie with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, where they're trying to figure out who the rat is on the inside of like their drugs task force or whatever it is. And so like every twist and turn, every new thing, I'm like, oh, class, way, Well, actually, I was going to say very frustrating for my wife, but she's fucking dining out on this. Let me tell you, this woman sits there on a throne watching these movies next to me because 15 years we've been together. I ain't never guessed the killer right. Not once. That's scientifically impossible. And another thing, is it that guy? Nope. And another thing, is it that guy? Nope. Columbo, mate. You're losing it. That's what I'm like. I don't know what's going on, but I'm having a great time. Like if I'm watching like a crime thriller, like my brain isn't making it to, Whodunnit. Because I'm fucking stuck on who dat? Terry's like chief of police. Oh. When did that? The start of a movie. Start of a movie, gave him the files. Oh. Why you do that? To blow up the evidence. Oh. How'd they do that? CGI. I don't fucking know. Pyrotechnics, special effects. Fucking watch the film. And forget ever watching a fucking Hong Kong cop movie. Hong Kong cock movie. Who that? Why he fucking himself? I don't know. Gay, I suppose. I guess we've established I was watching a gay Hong Kong movie there. But yeah, so film dory. I think we need to have a bit more pride for the film dories. We're just out there. Just keep swimming. All right? Don't know what the fuck's going on. We're having a great time. But I highly recommend The Rip. But I'd be like that watching Fast and Furious. I'd be like, what's going on? But they just got into a car. Like they just got into the car to go somewhere. All right. And I love movies. I'm just not good at them at all. I'm watching a lot. I've decided now, I've started watching, this happens in relationships. Sometimes you just have phases of just liking different things. Right now I'm into like watching like European cinema on my iPad. That's what I would prefer to do. Terry's, God bless her, showing me lots of different options, being like, we should have a show together. We should be getting engaged with a show. I felt like I haven't seen a good prestige TV show in a while, and I'm there watching the fucking Decalogue 10 film anthology in Polish, which she probably would be into. She's in the right mood, Don't know what kind of mood, but that's my kind of buzz at the moment. And so at the moment, I'm just kind of like, hey, just put on whatever you want, and I'll just watch a movie in bed. I'm there watching fucking iPad on max brightness, and I got a big iPad, which a fucking crying Polish kid on screen. It's a tough life. It's a tough life, but she's doing pretty well for herself, our Terry. Oh, gotta tell you this. My uncle definitely has my wife's competitive spirit, put it mildly. And he's very good at staring contests, right? And he's always constantly, like every time we're sitting down for dinner, he's like, let's do a staring contest. And he did, let me tell you this fucking ballsy move. He goes, let's have a staring contest, right? And so I'm like, okay. And I'm staring him in the eye. And while he's maintaining eye contact with me, all right, and his eyes not even flickering, not even wetting, right, picks up a fucking lemon and sucks on it. He's 5 years old, this kid. Sucks on the fucking lemon. And his eyes don't even fucking twitch. And he won. And he fucking won the staring contest. It was so cool. I felt like, are you the dad? Are you the dad now? Do I now have to do what you say? Because it was the coolest fucking shit I've ever seen in my life. And I do like, I keep thinking of that One Battle After Another. Hopefully you've seen it. But whenever I see like, dads who aren't being very good dads, I just always visualize one of my biggest fears is being, a waster dad. And because I was a waster until I was a dad. And so there's a history there. So like I'm watching like DiCaprio there, and his daughter's like what the fuck is wrong with you? Or she's like, fucking grow up. And he's like, well, sweetie, look, you're right. I'm proud of you for sticking up for yourself. But the way you talk to your father sometimes, I know. Look, it's good. It's good. You should tell me, because that's what I'm like to my kids sometimes. Being like, after I make a fucking boo boo, I go back and say, "Hey, remember yesterday there I was snapped at you about that thing. I'm sorry about that. It was good. It was good. You changed my mind on that. So sorry about that. I'm trying to do more of that shit. But so I like, I do like them using their grown-up voice or their big boy or big girl voice on me, and then to be like, because I'd rather they speak with conviction. But then sometimes it's like fucking, last night I told a young fella I'd sit outside the bed while he fell asleep, and then my phone ran out of batteries, so I had to fucking try to sneak into my room to use the charger, and then he goes, "Da!" And then I was like, fuck, maybe. I tried to be loud from the bedroom enough that he might think that volume meant that I was outside the door. And I was like, yeah, just outside. And then I heard him mumble something, and I'm like, fuck, I have to. So I got to his door, and I was like, what's going on? And he goes, speak up when I'm talking to you. Speak up when I'm talking to you. And because I felt like I'd been caught, because I wasn't actually outside the room, I was like, oh, sorry about that. And then I went down, sat on the floor. I was like, I'm going to fuck. I popped my head in. Hey, don't fucking talk to me like that. And he's like, oh, sorry. I'm like, all right, I'm sorry. I'm proud of you for sticking up for me. Sticking up for yourself. But yeah, staring contest. Do you know what then as well? Then me and Terry had a bit of a losers game, right? Because we couldn't beat the young flip. And so we there looking in the eyes. Didn't even try and pull any of my silly faces. My hilarious silly faces. Didn't even try to pull any of them. And she blinked. And it was a brazen blink. It was like blim, blim. And she goes, all right, no, let's go again. And I said, no, never again. I am never. And I said, I swear to you on my marriage vows, all the things that I promised you when we got married and how I would love you and care for you, I promise, I swear to fucking God, I'm never having a staring contest with you ever. I hope to be married to you for another 50 fucking years. I am never having a staring contest with you again. You know? Because you got to quit when you're ahead for something. I'm not going to have a fucking sports career in staring contests. No. I am happy to never play again as long as I remain champion. Used to do this thing where mate Joe would always say, we'd be playing whatever game we were playing, and he could lose 1,000,000 times. And then if he won once, he would also do that. He'd be like, no, I'm not playing. Not playing again. Boxing rules, he would say. Boxing rules, I'm the champion. Boxing rules. Boxing rules mean that the last person to win is the champion and never has to play again, is what he would say. Something else I want to do this year, and I try and do it every year, is be less of a dickhead on the phone. I am a dickhead on the phone. I'm now, a lot better than I was. Emails as well. For some reason, I become a real Chris Williamson. A real alpha icon, God, like Chris Williamson. I embody the spirit of Chris Williamson when I'm talking to some poor young one on minimum wage working for a phone company when I'm trying to get a cheaper rate or something. No, I don't like him. And I have kind of finessed it now. I've kind of realized what you're kind of allowed to do and what you're not really allowed to do. But I was trying to look back on old emails from 2016, back when, because everyone's doing, a bit of a 2016 recap. For some reason, there's a decade every minute. But hey, we're doing this one. That's fine. Hey, I'm a content creator. All right? I'm a content creator, actually. Well, some people would be considered a content creator. I'm more of a content creator, wherein I think everything that I put out is actually just class. Which is actually, maybe I am actually. That's not true. I can be very cruel to myself. Anyway, what am I talking about? I was looking back on emails from 2016. 2016 is when I kind of got a job and thought I was good at it. This is when I started working in sales. And had a kind of like, don't take no shit, kind of like sales director. I had 2 of them actually. And then, they kind of encouraged me. And then because of, it's like some fucking silicon, it was like something out of Silicon Docks. It was like something out of the Silicon Docks. There was a big, money just started fucking flying in because of Facebook ads. And I got promoted to being one of like the managers. And I didn't even have to be on the phone anymore. And that happened like within like a year, where all of a sudden I'm just managing this team and just blaring fucking Mortal Kombat by Techno Syndrome. By the Immortals, actually. The song is called Techno Syndrome by the Immortals, the Mortal Kombat theme song. Whatever. I would be playing tunes to get the boys and the girls hyped for a day of sales. And one of the things in this company was you'd have like, there was some like perks you would get, and there might be like cheap cinema tickets or whatever. And one of them was like 20 quid off Uber when Uber just started. When you sign up to, that's what happens. 20 quid off Uber, and you're like, oh, this is pretty handy. And then you sign up for it, and then all of a sudden you're using it regularly. They do it with all the apps. And so I signed up, and then I used my 20 quid, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if I can have another one. And so I had like unlimited access to these codes. But, I didn't have unlimited email addresses. I wasn't going to do that. So what I did was I signed up to Uber, used the code, and then I would delete my account and ask that, because of GDPR, a thing I throw around like it's fucking nothing. Well, because of GDPR, actually, let me have a look at what's in your pocket. Well, GDPR means I have to have a look in your pocket. I was actually making some absolute fucking lethal moves on the dance floor there last week. For GDPR, can I see it? can I see the footage of my dance moves? That kind of shit, you know? And so I was like, I'd like you to remove all of my data so that I, you know, and for GDPR. And then they did it. And then I would set up a new account and then do it again. But I must have rung up. I've talked about this on the podcast, but I'm going to go into specifics here. I must have spent like 500 quid on Uber. And I remember Terry at the time being like, you know, we've watched Breaking Bad, Tony. Like, we know how this plays out. What do you think's going to happen? What's the end goal of this? What do you think is the end goal of this? You know, while she was getting into the taxis, you know, for a bit of a Carmela Soprano kind of thing, you know. She's there profiting off the boons of my scams, but having been the kind of, you know, just getting the morality out there so she doesn't feel bad while I'm fucking taking her. I remember getting the fucking Uber, living in London, out to like the Nelson Mandela statue from my gaff in East London just to see what it would look like. And then having your man waiting, getting back in and going home. That was fucking throwing away Ubers. But then it got to a point where the GDPR thing wasn't really working. And I had to start coming up with other things. They were like, no, that actually isn't GDPR. They got wind of it. And so I'll explain. So I have an email exchange here from Uber of how it went down. So I said, hi, my name is Tony Cantwell. I'd like to have my Uber account deleted and my payment information disposed of at the earliest possible convenience. See, our boy's smart. Our boy uses words like earliest possible convenience. Our boy's smart. And then I said I was using it with my boyfriend's card, and we've separated. Because for some reason I changed genders unexpectedly. You know, like I often think, same as what I did with Young Hot Guys. We had this thing, if you listen to the bonus podcast, someone shot on someone's doorstep outside the National Stadium, and a woman sent us pictures of the shit. Listen to that podcast. But anyway, I told this lady, can I have high? She was saying it was one of our fans and was complaining to us about it. And I said, can I see a high-res image of that, because we have a private investigator and she would really like to see that. I'm thinking, oh, I feel like the same kind of like, oh, not that I should be surprised. This is the horrible fucking patriarchal society that we live in, that I should be surprised to see a different gender for a private investigator. But this is where we live in. So I would just be like, oh, interesting. I'm intrigued. And then I almost conflate intrigue with belief, you know? So in this case, I said I had a boyfriend. Also, I was just kind of maybe just making up fun little dramatic stories in my head, thinking, who is this character, this Tony Cantwell, basically running up Uber accounts on his boyfriend's card? That seemed more titillating to me. And then they didn't get back for a while. And I said, hello. And then I said, please respond, I'm distraught. And then they said, thanks for writing in, Tony. And there's no need to have this account deleted. You may simply add another payment method and then delete your boyfriend's card. Let me know if you have any questions. And I said, I need my account deleted for legal reasons. Thank you. And I thought that, okay, maybe sometimes what you need to do for a scam is just leave it kind of ambiguous. I probably was a bit too forward with all this information, boyfriend's card and stuff like that. You know, we're broken up, that kind of thing. But then 15 minutes later, I fucked it, right? I said, I need my account deleted for legal reasons, thanks. And 15 minutes later, I wrote back, delete my account in caps for some reason. I guess 15 minutes later, I realized I needed to take an Uber. And how did the guy get back to me? Sorry for the delay. We're not going to be able to delete your account due to the fact that you are clearly lying and have been consistently breaking the terms of use by utilizing new user promotional codes after deleting and then creating a new account over and over. The spirit of these promotions is they're applicable to users' first journey, not users signing up multiple times. You'll be able to use your account as normal for journeys with Uber. Let me know if there's anything else I can do. And I said, delete my account. I need my account deleted for legal reasons, again in caps. And he said, hi, Tony, thanks for writing in. There's no need to have your account deleted. You may simply just add a new payment card and then delete your boyfriend's card again. And I said, you cannot keep my account active against my will. You are clearly in breach of the Data Protection Act. He was not only my boyfriend, he was my boss. And a reminder of his card has me distraught. Delete my account. And he said, your account is now closed. And I said, my account is not closed. It is disabled. Meaning that although inactive, the information is still present. I am requesting you delete the account. My ex-boss / boyfriend has demanded I delete the account as he requires that card for a new account. And then they wrote back, so your account will remain under investigation, but that's perfect for your ex-boss. He can actually just add this card to multiple accounts, no problem at all. Then I try a different technique. All right, because I'm realizing, all right, this whole caps thing is... And look, I'm highlighting this to be like, I'm a fucking dickhead. I was a dickhead. All right? I was being a petulant child, thinking I was like some sort of fucking mob boss who had figured out some hack that was going to go on forever. I'm telling you, this is the fucking film Dory. Like, I don't know what's happening. I'm just like, I need it now. I need the Uber now. What's happening on the screen right now? Who dat? You know, where'd they go? So, I'm not this person anymore, okay? I'm a lovely guy. Hey, you know me, I'm a lovely guy. So, I decided to pivot, all right? And sorry, he said as well that I was under investigation for suspicious activity, all right? Now look, I know, I'm an asshole here, all right? I know I'm an asshole here. I'm being a petulant fucking child. I'm being a cunt, quite frankly, okay? I'm not like this anymore. I would never speak to people like this anymore. And also, again, this is fucking the film Dory mentality of like, what's happening right now? There is no future, there is no past. And I really adopt this idea of there is no past when I try a new approach here, when I come back to him. And I say, hi, my account seems to have been flagged for suspicious activity. However, I've only used one car in the brief time it was active, and that was based on a promotion. Could you please close my account? I find it uncomfortable, given Uber's reputation for illegally disclosing information about journalists this past year, that my account is open. And then it says, please follow through on this, otherwise you are perversely and morbidly investigating an account with one taxi ride that will inevitably just be deleted regardless. You're clearly in breach of data protection. I'm conflating everything here. I'm acting as if we've never spoken before, but I'm bringing in little hints of the old conversation. I'd like all that information to be deleted. And then I said, please write back to this email immediately. And then they wrote back and said, hi, Tony. We followed through with our investigation, and I have now deleted your account permanently. Let us know if there's anything I can do. I went back and said, I'd like to formally apologize for breaking the terms. Is there any chance my account could be reactivated? And then a month goes by and clearer heads prevail. And I get back in touch. And I say, hey, I'd like to formally apologize for breaking the terms and conditions by repeatedly renewing accounts with promo codes and the way I lashed out at you and the other members of the customer service team. For that, I'm sorry. Being without an account for the last month has been very inconvenient. It's an incredible service. And it's been genuinely very difficult to live without. Is there any chance you can reactivate my account? I have no intention of renewing a promo code or anything like that. I just want to be able to provide patronage to a incredibly comfortable and convenient car service. Can you help? No response. And I am still banned from Uber in the UK. Listen, thank you very much for listening to this podcast. I am on tour, and there's all the details in the show notes of this podcast, so please do check that out there. I made a little promo vid of just wrestling clips. I knew I was making it just for people who might like wrestling. It turned out to be fewer than I thought. Hey, I'm going to make some more. I'll do an OC one or something like that. I do like watching YouTube tribute videos. But yeah, I'm coming everywhere. In fact, you know what? I'm just going to tell you fucking right now. This is my podcast. I forget I don't have those two jerks breathing down my neck. Going to be, when are you going to shut up about your fucking... I'm going to be in the Whale Theatre in Greystones. I think that might be sold out. London Top Secret Comedy on February 26th. I'm going to be in Kavanagh and Portlaoise on... Excuse me, I had a little burp there on March 6th. I'm going to be in the Draiocht in Blanche on March 13th. I'm going to be in DeBarras in Cork on March 20th. In the Abbey Tavern on Howth on March 21st. I'm going to be in Galway, in Monroe's Bar and Grill on April 11th. I'm going to be in Dublin's Vicar Street on April 18th. Ridian! I'm going to be in Cyprus Avenue in Cork on April 24th. I'm going to be in the Spirit Store in Dundalk May 2nd. I'm going to be in Dolan's, that's in Limerick, on May 8th. I'm going to be in Waterford, the Bank Lane Theatre on May 24th. I'm going to be in the Pavillion Theatre in Dunleary on May 28th. I'm going to be in the Limelight 2, the smaller one, in Belfast on May 29th. I'm going to be in the Moat Theatre in Kildare on June 4th. And I'm going to be in Dundrum, the Mill, on June 5th. I would love to see you there. All the best. Bye-bye.
It's Tony Cantwell Shit Show.